If you were born before 1966, the rules governing your hard-earned Social Security benefits are undergoing a silent but massive shift in July 2026. This is not a drill, and the government will not send you a personalized reminder. I am Dr. Collins, your retired U.S. benefits advisor, and today we are uncovering how a simple oversight could cost you thousands in lifetime benefits if you do not take action right now. Consider Sarah Remington, a hardworking 65-year-old grandmother from Ohio. She spent over 40 years paying into the system, trusting her future would be completely secure. Yet, she recently discovered that her planned transition in July 2026 falls directly into a complex regulatory gap. The issue lies in how the Social Security Administration calculates cost of living adjustments alongside transitioning benefit tiers for those approaching their full retirement age. These small recalculations are not errors, but structural changes embedded within legislative schedules. The government operates on a reactive model, meaning they process your choices but rarely intervene to correct a disadvantageous filing date. There are no automated systems designed to alert you that waiting just 3 additional weeks could permanently increase your monthly check. This lack of active notification is not a conspiracy, but rather a consequence of an overwhelmed administrative system. The agency relies heavily on retirees initiating every specific claim on their own. If you do not ask the right questions, the system simply processes the standard, less lucrative default options. July 2026 represents a critical boundary because it is the exact month where several transitional brackets for those born in the early 1960s converge. A minor clerical mismatch in your filing paperwork could lead to a permanent reduction in your base benefit rate. But here is where things begin to spiral completely out of control for the unprepared. Many financial planners do not even realize how these technical dates interact with Medicare premium deductions. When your Social Security benefit shifts, your Medicare Part B premium bracket can be reassessed, triggering automatic surcharges you never saw coming. For someone living on a fixed income, a sudden monthly deduction of $80 or $100 is not just an inconvenience. It directly threatens your daily ability to pay for basic necessities like groceries, prescription medications, or utility bills. You worked hard for this money, and letting it slip away due to complex administrative timing is a tragedy that is entirely preventable. We must examine the specific forms and rules that apply to your exact birth year in order to protect your financial legacy for years to come. In the coming chapters, we will break down the exact step-by-step strategies to verify your filing status and secure your full monthly entitlements. But first, you must ask yourself one critical, life-altering question before the clock runs out. Will you be among the thousands of retirees who lose up to 30% of their lifetime benefits simply because of a silent regulatory calendar shift? This silent shift is absolutely not an overnight crisis. It is a slow, structural design built directly into your year of birth. The Social Security Administration does not notify you when your personal rules change. Your birth certificate itself dictates your retirement destiny, dividing millions of Americans into 4 highly distinct, high-risk brackets. First, consider the oldest seniors, born between 1943 and 1954. If you belong to this cohort, your full retirement age is exactly 66. You have reached this milestone, yet many in your group are quietly losing thousands of dollars by failing to optimize their retroactive claiming strategies. Next comes the transitional group, those born between 1955 and 1959. For you, the regulatory goalpost shifted slowly and incrementally. Your full retirement age climbs by 2 months for every single birth year. This sliding scale creates immense administrative confusion, causing many to file early under the false assumption they have reached full maturity. Then we find the pre-retirement wave, born between 1960 and 1965. If you fall into this bracket, your full retirement age is 67. Filing even 1 month before this exact milestone triggers a lifetime, permanent reduction in your monthly payout. Finally, the modern planners born in 1966 and later face the full weight of the age 67 benchmark. You are forced to navigate an entirely different financial landscape, heavily impacted by rising Medicare Part B premiums and changing cost of living adjustments. But this is where the administrative trap reveals its true design, catching thousands of honest workers completely off guard. The agency never proactively contacts you to explain these complex nuances. They simply process your application exactly as submitted, locking in your lifetime rate. Take the real-life case of Sarah Remington, a hardworking transitional retiree born in 1959. She mistakenly assumed her full retirement age was 66, filed her paperwork early, and permanently reduced her lifetime monthly checks. She missed her true full retirement age of 66 and 10 months by just a few short weeks. This is not an isolated error. It is a structural reality that drains fixed incomes. William Orth, a dedicated public service worker born in 1965, faces a similar dilemma as he desperately balances severe health concerns with the constant threat of these early claiming penalties. He must navigate a system that offers zero automated safety nets. Each birth cohort operates under an entirely different set of rules. Financial advice that worked perfectly for your older sibling or your neighbor could easily devastate your own retirement security. As we approach the July 2026 regulatory cliff, understanding your exact bracket is no longer optional. It is the only shield you have to protect what you worked decades to earn. The financial cost of a single administrative oversight is simply too high for any hardworking family to ignore. This brings us to a critical crossroad. Which specific birth year bracket is currently at the absolute highest risk for permanent, irreversible benefit reductions if they file this month? The answer points directly to those born between 1960 and 1965, individuals standing on the precipice of their 62nd birthday. Consider the heartbreaking story of William Orth, a 61-year-old retired public school teacher who is currently mourning the painful loss of his beloved wife. Grieving, emotionally drained, and physically exhausted from decades in the classroom, William looks at his mounting bills and sees early retirement as an immediate emotional and financial lifeline. To him, filing for Social Security benefits at age 62 seems like a logical, comforting escape from the crushing weight of daily stress. He believes that securing smaller, guaranteed checks today is far better than waiting for a distant, uncertain future that he might not even live to see. But this understandable decision carries a heavy, permanent price tag that the administrative system rarely explains in plain, transparent English. Because William was born before 1966, his full retirement age is 67, meaning that filing at 62 triggers an automatic, irreversible 30% reduction in his monthly checks. If his full monthly benefit at age 67 would have been $2,500, filing early slashes that monthly payment to just $1,750. That is an immediate loss of $750 every single month, a permanent penalty guaranteed for the rest of his natural life. Over a standard 25-year retirement, this seemingly minor monthly deduction compounds into a devastating, silent drain on his retirement security. William would permanently forfeit $225,000 in cumulative lifetime wealth, a massive sum of money that could have funded his healthcare needs in his twilight years. If you believe this sacrifice is simply the price of early freedom, you are overlooking a far deeper, more insidious financial trap. The Social Security Administration will never send a representative to warn you that your checks will not adjust back to 100% once you reach your full retirement age. That 30% penalty is locked in forever, anchoring your purchasing power to a permanently lower baseline while inflation continues to aggressively erode the purchasing power of every single dollar. For dedicated public service workers like William, this early filing penalty is further compounded by complex offset rules that aggressively target his hard-earned pension. Many seniors choose the bird-in-the-hand approach because they fear their own mortality, worried they will not live long enough to reach the break-even point. Yet historical actuarial data clearly demonstrates that the average American reaching age 62 will live well into their mid-80s, making the patience to wait highly profitable. By claiming early, William is essentially betting against his own longevity, leaving an absolute fortune on the table while the administrative system quietly saves money on his silence. Can William afford to lose over $100,000 in cumulative lifetime benefits just to secure immediate cash today? We left William contemplating a massive lifetime loss, a stark reminder of how easily the system quietly gains from your silence. But William is not alone in this complex financial maze. Consider Sarah Remington, a hardworking 65-year-old transitional retiree who is currently on the verge of leaving a massive fortune on the table without ever realizing it. Sarah spent decades working part-time while raising her family, accumulating a modest retirement benefit of her own. She naturally assumes she can only collect what she personally contributed to the system over the years. What Sarah does not know is that federal guidelines allow her to claim up to 50% of her living husband's retirement benefit once she reaches her full retirement age. This is the forgotten spousal goldmine. Yet, if you expect a representative from the Social Security Administration to call Sarah and guide her through this lucrative option, you are waiting for a notification that will never arrive. The system operates on an application-only basis. They will process exactly what you submit, but they will not design the most profitable strategy for your household. Because of this lack of proactive communication, millions of eligible couples continue to leave billions of unclaimed dollars in the federal treasury. To qualify for this spousal coordination, your partner must already be actively claiming their retirement benefits, and you must be at least 62 years old. If you wait until your full retirement age, you are entitled to the maximum 50% of their primary insurance amount. If you claim early, that monthly payment is permanently reduced. It is a precise mathematical calculation that requires strategic timing. But if you think securing this extra money is as simple as checking a box on a standard online application, you are about to face a very harsh reality. The filing process is filled with obscure questions and administrative hurdles. If Sarah files for her own retirement benefit first without properly coordinating the spousal claim, she could trigger an irreversible sequence that locks her into a lower monthly payout forever. Many couples mistakenly believe these benefits merge automatically, but the administrative system keeps these income streams strictly segmented. You must actively and precisely demand your fair share. This is why keeping your family informed and subscribed to Dr. Collins, retired U.S. benefits advisor, is so critical, as we break down these hidden regulations before you sign any paperwork. A single unintentional misstep, like selecting the wrong effective start date on official Form SSA-1, can cause the entire agency to deem you completely ineligible for retroactive spousal payments, instantly wiping out thousands of earned dollars in potential back pay. Sarah represents millions of silent victims who lose their rightful family share simply because they did not know which specific questions to ask or which forms to actively demand. What happens when Sarah discovers her husband's past earnings could immediately boost her monthly check, but a single filing error could void the claim? While filing errors can instantly erase a living spouse's benefit, an even deeper silence surrounds those who have lost their partner. Take the tragic case of William Orth, a retired public school teacher who recently sat across from me in my office. Still mourning the sudden passing of his wife, William felt completely paralyzed by the complex layers of federal regulations. He was left holding a stack of confusing government letters, completely unsure of how to keep his fragile household afloat. The administrative office had presented him with what seemed like a single, rigid path. They offered him a choice: claim his own reduced retirement benefits now, or claim his late wife's survivor benefit. What they failed to explain is a highly strategic rule that can serve as a lifeline during profound grief. You do not have to settle for a single, permanently reduced monthly check for the rest of your life. Under current guidelines, a surviving spouse has the unique right to file for one benefit first while letting the other grow. For someone like William, this means he can claim his survivor benefit early, starting as young as age 60. This strategy provides vital, immediate cash flow to stabilize the household budget during an incredibly difficult and emotional time. Meanwhile, his own personal retirement benefit remains untouched, quietly accumulating delayed retirement credits at 8% every year. By the time William reaches age 70, his personal benefit will have maximized to its absolute peak. He can then coordinate a seamless transition, dropping the survivor benefit and switching to his own, much larger payout. But this is where the administrative system introduces a hidden trap that can quietly lock you into a lower rate forever. If you do not explicitly state your intentions when filing, the agency may automatically apply you for both benefits simultaneously. This devastating mistake triggers what is known as the deeming rule, stripping away your ability to let either benefit grow. As a benefits advisor, I have watched countless grieving spouses walk into local government offices, completely unaware of this technical trap. They sign the standard paperwork, mistakenly trusting the system to look out for their best financial interests. Instead, they find themselves trapped in a permanent, low-paying bracket with no option for retroactive correction. To execute this swap safely, you must demand a restricted application, keeping your personal benefit completely isolated. You must clearly write in the remarks section of your application that you are excluding your retirement benefits from this claim. This simple written declaration is the only barrier protecting your future financial security from automatic permanent reduction. William almost missed this critical detail because no administrative clerk offered to write those words down for him. You must become your own fierce advocate when your financial future is on the line. Is it possible to draw a deceased spouse's benefit now and switch to a much larger personal benefit later? Or will a misstep lock you into the lower rate forever? While navigating the choice of when to switch benefits is critical, a silent predator often waits to drain your hard-earned check before it even deposits into your bank account. You plan everything perfectly, only to open your monthly statement and find your Social Security deposit is significantly lower than expected. This sudden drop is not a system error. It is a direct hit from a federal mechanism known as the Medicare IRMAA surcharge. IRMAA stands for the Income-Related Monthly Adjustment Amount, and it represents a progressive surcharge tacked onto your Medicare Part B and Part D monthly premiums. Most retirees believe their current monthly income dictates their Medicare costs, but the system actually operates on a delayed fuse. The Social Security Administration determines your 2026 premiums by looking back at your federal tax returns from exactly 2 years prior in 2024. If you had a slightly higher income year due to transitional work or a retirement payout as you approach 65, the system automatically flags you. There are no warning letters, no friendly phone calls, and certainly no personal evaluations. Your premiums are simply adjusted upward, and your Social Security check is systematically reduced to cover it. You do not have to accept this silent reduction as an absolute reality. The government provides a specific hidden lifeline called Form SSA-44, known as the Medicare Income-Related Monthly Adjustment Amount Life-Changing Event Appeal. This document allows you to formally request an immediate recalculation if your total income has dropped significantly due to a qualifying life event. Retirement itself is recognized as one of these major events. If you stopped working or experienced a substantial drop in earnings between your 2-year look-back tax year and today, filing this form can easily restore your monthly benefits very quickly. But if you think this administrative automated trap is just a minor glitch, the reality waiting in your mailbox is far more devastating. Many seniors assume the government will automatically fix their rates once they see the new tax data, but the bureaucracy does not correct itself without your direct intervention. You must provide concrete proof, such as a termination letter from your former employer or a copy of your updated tax transcript showing the sudden earnings decline. Without these crucial documents, your appeal will simply languish in a government filing cabinet while they continue to penalize your monthly cash. At my channel, Dr. Collins, retired U.S. benefits advisor, I always stress that the system relies on your silence. But submitting Form SSA-44 is how you actively reclaim control over your deserved retirement cash flow. Educating yourself about these administrative rules prevents you from being blindsided by unexpected deductions. You deserve to keep what you work to secure. Yet this relief mechanism contains its own dangerous blind spots that catch thousands of retirees completely off guard. Can a one-time capital gain from selling a family home years ago trigger an ongoing penalty that drains your monthly retirement check today? While a temporary capital gain can trigger immediate Medicare surcharges, there is a far more permanent and devastating penalty quietly draining the monthly retirement checks of those who dedicated their lives to serving our local communities. If you spent your career as a school teacher, a firefighter, a police officer, or a local government employee, you are likely facing an administrative double standard that feels less like a policy and more like a betrayal. Millions of public servants who earned both a public pension and paid into Social Security are discovering their hard-earned benefits are being slashed by two legacy provisions: the Windfall Elimination Provision, known as WEP, and the Government Pension Offset, or GPO. Take the case of William Orth, a 61-year-old retired public school teacher who recently lost his beloved wife. William spent decades educating our children, believing his financial future was secure. Now, as he navigates his grief and prepares to claim his benefits, he finds himself trapped. Under the WEP, his personal Social Security benefit could be slashed by up to 50% simply because he receives a pension from a school district that did not participate in Social Security. Worse, under GPO regulations, any spousal or survivor benefits he hoped to receive from his late wife's earnings could be reduced by 2/3, potentially wiping them out completely. For decades, these twin provisions have stood as a silent barrier to financial security, punishing public sector workers for their service. The system operates under the assumption that these offsets prevent double dipping, but the reality is a stark loss of expected retirement income. We are talking about retirees losing upwards of $300 to $600 every single month, translating to tens of thousands of dollars over a lifetime. If you think these deductions are minor adjustments, prepare to be shocked by how deep this bureaucratic pocket picking actually goes. For years, advocates have fought to dismantle this systemic imbalance. This brings us to the critical developments of 2025 and 2026. The legislative battleground is heating up with renewed efforts to pass the Social Security Fairness Act, a bill designed to fully repeal both the WEP and the GPO. For public servants like William, this legislation represents a long overdue correction, a beacon of hope that their earned benefits might finally be restored in full. Here at the office of Dr. Collins, retired U.S. Benefits Advisor, we are tracking these congressional updates daily because the implications for your family's budget are massive. If this bill passes, public sector retirees could see an immediate, substantial lift in their monthly checks, correcting a historical grievance that has lingered for over 40 years. But as the political maneuvering intensifies in Washington, the question remains whether this promise of justice will materialize or vanish into the halls of administrative inertia. Will these public workers finally receive their fully earned benefits, or will legacy regulations continue to penalize those who dedicated their lives to serving our local communities? The digital world was supposed to make our lives easier, but for millions of retirees, it has become a high-tech fortress with walls that seem impossible to scale. You might have experienced the frustration firsthand, trying to log into your Social Security portal only to be met with a multi-factor authentication request that demands a code sent to a phone you no longer use, or a device that refuses to recognize your connection. This isn't just a minor annoyance, it is a systemic barrier that effectively locks you out of your own financial future. Many of you have reached out to me, Dr. Collins, sharing your stories of being stuck in an infinite loop of security questions and automated prompts. You feel isolated because the days of paper statements being mailed to your doorstep are fading, replaced by digital dashboards that require perfect tech literacy. When these systems fail, you are often left waiting on hold for hours, only to be told that you must verify your identity in person at a local field office that may be miles away. But there are practical ways to navigate these digital corridors without jeopardizing your security. The first step is to establish a trusted contact with your financial institutions. Most major banks and brokerage firms have a formal process for this. By naming someone you trust, you provide a safety net for those moments when the technology decides to stop cooperating. It does not give them control over your money, but it gives them a pathway to intervene if you are suddenly cut off from your account access. The shift toward paperless communication has left many feeling like they are operating in the dark. If you prefer hard copies, you are entitled to request them. You do not have to accept the digital-only default. Contact your providers and specifically ask for your correspondence to be delivered via the United States Postal Service. This simple request ensures that you are not relying solely on a password or a signal that might drop when you need it most. If you are struggling with identity verification, do not rely on clicking links found in suspicious emails. Instead, go directly to the official government websites by typing the address yourself. If the system demands a code via text and your phone is outdated, look for the option to receive a code via email or a secure voice call to your landline. These are often hidden in the settings or security tabs, but they are there for those who know where to look. But here is the reality we must face. Even the best systems can fail without warning. When a simple security code text fails to arrive, how can a senior prevent their entire retirement application from being locked in administrative limbo? The answer lies in proactive planning before the system crashes, not after. Please subscribe to this channel and share this with your loved ones, as staying informed is the only way to remain in command of your hard-earned benefits in this increasingly complex digital era. Many retirees operate under a dangerous assumption. They believe their Social Security statement is a perfectly accurate reflection of their life's work. They assume that if a number is printed on that official government document, it must be the gospel truth. As a former benefits advisor, I have seen the devastating reality. Administrative ghosts from the past are haunting thousands of monthly checks today. Consider your personal work history as a ledger. If an employer back in the 80s or 90s failed to report your earnings, or if they made a clerical typo on your Social Security number, that income simply vanished from the Social Security Administration's records. The system does not hunt for these errors. It relies entirely on you to notice them. If your lifetime average earnings are lower than they should be, your monthly benefit calculation is permanently docked. To perform your own audit, start by logging into your account at ssa.gov. You need to download your full earnings record. Do not just look at the estimated benefit amount at the top of the page. You must scroll down to the detailed table of your annual earnings. Compare those numbers year by year against your old W-2 forms or your personal tax returns. If you see a year where you know you worked, but the report shows 0 or an incorrect, significantly lower number, you have found a potential leak in your retirement bucket. If you find a discrepancy, you must act. The Social Security Administration will require proof. You should gather your original W-2s, tax returns, or pay stubs from those specific years. You will then need to submit a request for correction of earnings record, often involving Form SSA-4008. This is not about blaming a system that is designed to be automated. It is about taking ownership of the data that defines your future. Many people ignore this because they believe the effort outweighs the reward. They think, it was 30 years ago, does it really matter? The answer is a resounding yes. These are compounded losses. Because your benefit is based on an average of your highest 35 years of earnings, one missing entry can tilt the entire calculation downward. Over a 20-year retirement, that single error from 1989 could be quietly siphoning hundreds of dollars out of your pocket every single month. If you think this only happens to a handful of people, you are mistaken. Clerical errors in payroll processing were far more common in the era of paper filing. These errors are not just numbers on a page, they are your earned benefits. But what if the record is correct, yet your benefit remains inexplicably suppressed by other hidden factors? Is it possible that even with accurate reporting, a subtle, long-forgotten clerical typo made by a past employer is currently acting as a silent anchor, pulling your monthly check down by hundreds of dollars right now? That single keystroke error from decades ago is not some minor relic of the past. It is an active, ongoing drain on your monthly livelihood, operating completely unnoticed under the bureaucratic administrative radar. You cannot afford to let administrative clerical oversights dictate your standard of living in retirement, especially as we approach the critical policy updates of July 2026. This is precisely why you must erect your own personal financial shield today, a proactive defense system built on 3 immediate, concrete actions. First, secure your digital gateway today by logging into your official account at ssa.gov to download your complete, unedited earnings history statement. You must personally cross-reference those annual numbers against your actual old physical tax filings, looking specifically for any blank years or suspiciously low numbers that do not match your actual physical labor during those decades. If you detect any discrepancy or error, or if your recent retirement has caused a dramatic, sudden drop in your annual household income, immediately file Form SSA-44 to prevent Medicare from overcharging you based on outdated IRS tax data. Second, schedule a direct in-person appointment with an agency representative to specifically evaluate your unique eligibility for spousal or survivor coordination. Do not wait for them to proactively offer this complex analysis, because their automated system protocols are designed to process basic claims quickly, not to maximize your long-term household benefits. You must explicitly ask the agent to run calculations for both your independent record and your spouse's earning history, ensuring you do not accidentally leave thousands of dollars of unclaimed spousal benefits on the table for the rest of your life. But if you believe the administrative system will automatically correct these discrepancies out of goodwill, you are setting yourself up for a devastating financial realization. The federal administrative machinery is structured to preserve its own resources, actively relying on your silence and lack of professional information to keep those massive undistributed funds inside Treasury reserves. Third, protect your physical assets and digital access by establishing a designated trusted contact person with your financial institutions and setting up secure, paperless communication options to bypass interceptive mail fraud. As a former federal benefits advisor, I must explicitly remind you that while my guidance is deeply rooted in decades of professional experience, this presentation is strictly for educational purposes and does not constitute personalized legal or financial counsel. You should always consult with your certified public accountant or a licensed financial planner to evaluate your unique circumstances before making any permanent choices. By taking charge of these 3 steps, you reclaim the absolute power over your own hard-earned legacy. Share this critical warning with your siblings, your parents, and your neighbors who might be silently losing their retirement money to administrative silence. Subscribe to our channel, Dr. Collins, Retired U.S. Benefits Advisor, to ensure you are always informed before policy updates alter your financial future. Are you ready to take the 3 simple steps today that will shield your family's retirement income for the next 30 years?